Uh, let's see. Hi, Tyler. Can you hear us? No? Hello? Oh, no. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Can you see us?
Can't see that.
Hello, anybody? Can you hear us or see us?
I can see you and hear you, if you can hear me.
Thank you, Ronald.
Yes, you can hear me all right?
I can,
I
yes.
can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tyler. Can you hear me? All right, Ronald confirmed. I think Tyler is still having issues. Tyler, you're muted, bud. We can't hear you, Tyler. I'm just gonna unmute you. I can't unmute you. Tyler, can you hear us? We have to get started.
Yeah, we're not gonna need a forum.
All right. Yeah, I can see Tyler, but he can't hear us.
Fair enough. Okay, good. Is Linda with us?
Linda is not. We have Ronald, Kopnicki, and Gossips.
Gotcha. Okay, let's get started. I'd like to call to order the Public Works Board for the City of Hudson for August 7th, 2025. And we go around the room and identify the committee members, or group members, board members.
Justin Weaver.
George Crawford, Gary Bernhagen. Terrific. Can we forego the review of the July minutes? Can we accept them as in record?
Accepted.
Second? Second. Terrific, thank you. Could we get a report from our project manager, Ryan?
Certainly. So far to date, there's been two things we've been working on. One was, the grant application with the Verge and the city. We've been putting together some information for that, so I believe there's a meeting next week, with the common council that the Verge is preparing some materials for that, but, that is ongoing. And that's for work that would be for a grant application for CDBG for $1 million of work. I've been over this a couple of times, but connection to public buildings is still the public municipal buildings is still the plan approach. And likely what will be shown at the common council meeting is that there'll be a project greater than $1 million. However, the goal is to try and, get as much done inside that work area of access to municipal and public buildings. So the number will be greater than $1 million, but the goal is to prioritize areas in connection to those features. The contract work for the curb ramps on 5th, 6th, 7th, and then one on Warren and City Hall Place is ongoing. However, there's a slight delay due to the timeline for DigSafe to complete the responses for the markouts for all the utility work. I think I talked to the contractor this afternoon. The utility company is still delaying the gas markout. Hopefully the end of this week, they'll have it all complete. There's, I think, 1 or 2 intersections that haven't been done. So they don't want to get started because they didn't want to get to a point where they can't continue. But at this point, they need to start work. So Monday, they're going to start work on, I believe it's going to be the first intersection. It's going to be over here on, not 5th and Warren, 5th and the first alley.
Prison Alley?
Yeah, prison alley. They're going to start there, and hopefully they don't catch up to the utility mark out. So, they're going to start, you'll start to see some of that work starting next week.
So 5th and is that prison?
Yeah.
And that's where the cannonball factory is?
Is that,
Where Etsy used to be?
In the back, the alley you're talking about, I think.
Is that
Yeah.
Prison Alley back here?
I think so.
Well, the plan is to do Fifth and Prison, Fifth and Long Alley, and Fifth and State. So they're doing that in one. Are they just doing one corner and then moving on to the next corner, or are they doing all three at the same?
Means and methods, I'll leave more of the contractor. My understanding is that they'll likely be doing work at all three intersections at one time. Unlikely to have, they're not gonna have holes at every intersection open. They'll probably get one set up and prepped, and maybe move on to the next level, because they're gonna pour concrete in the morning, trying to avoid any vandalism or graffiti evening activities. So their goal is to pour first thing in the morning, anytime they can. So they're aware of all that. I mean, we have a meeting with DPW as well as Justin. We kind of went over all this with the contractor and make sure they were aware of this.
Great. Anything else?
Not in particular, I guess I have a little bit of time left, if you guys, Michelle.
Okay, Ryan's gonna be leaving early. Does anyone here have any questions of Ryan at this time?
I just wanted to notate that Ryan was gracious enough to give us to print these ward maps out. So he did these humongous maps of the first ward, second ward, third ward, fourth ward, and fifth ward. So now we all quite literally have our walking papers. We have our maps and we'll each get a ward. I know George already got a ward. I think you took the second ward. And then we're gonna give out Gary's gonna do the first ward. Tyler took the fifth ward. So I was waiting for Dave. Dave can pick whichever word he'd like, but thank you, Ryan, that it's very clear, the boundaries, and we'll go around and assess the sidewalks and come up with that priority list. So I just want to touch on that before you leave.
Great, yes, and thank you, Ryan, for that. The one thing I think we need to do is discuss how we're going to evaluate a situation and how are we gonna rank it so that we have some equality, between you and me. I might say this is, on fire and you're saying it's a minor effect, so we wanna have some consistency.
Well, my thought was, when we talked about this at the last meeting, you had said the 1, 2, 3 ranking. And I think that anything that, each individual person within that ward that they're looking at deems a 1 or a 2. I think that's enough that when we reconvene, that's when Tyler goes out and maybe with Ryan and maybe the group, if we can all get together and look at those that are highlighted 1 or 2, and at that point determine, is it truly a 1 or is it a 2? And then just really eliminate the 2s and focus on the 1s. That's my thought, but I mean, or we can just come up with a standard key or legend. If it's this, then it's definitely a 1. If it's a pothole, that's an absolute 1. If it's, uneven side, if it's a crack,
Yeah, I was almost thinking a category, maybe, in fact, 1 would be non-ADA compliant, so then we need to go through a tutorial as to, walk out maybe with our rulers and, what's non-compliance with ADA. Although your method, you're saying that we gather after initial review is pretty good because there may be other issues that as a group, it would be good for us to discuss as a whole. So I'm good with that.
what do you guys think?
I mean, I look at us as agents of the city and we're here to protect the liability of the city, so it's gonna be trip hazards, clear and present danger type stuff. Cracks are like a 2 or a 3 because, a crack is a crack. You can soft that and repair it, but I'm looking for trip hazards, stuff that's gonna cause lawsuits back on us.
Yeah.
Looking for exposed aggregate, maybe it's a 3, age and settling, that kind of thing, but it's really about trip hazards for me.
Yeah.
Any advice, Ryan?
There is some, the way you could look at some of these areas as well as number of number of, issues in a block or something to that effect where, you know, the 1, 2, 3 method is great. If you have a 1 at the, you know, first at the start of the block and nothing else, you know, that 1 is important to get prepared. But you have another block that was a mix of 2s and 3s and 1s all the way down it, you know, there may be a more important priority. So that may also be coming back together as a group,
Yeah,
being as a, where if there's a 1 that's an outlier, that can still get done. But if you're looking for a larger, you know, what is the biggest area of work to focus on? But going back to kind of what George had mentioned is the trip hazards, so uneven surfaces, and then one of ADA's comments is like solid surface is as a way to talk about it or describe it. So, a surface that is starting to deteriorate, fall, you'll start to see the aggregates, and that can sometimes be slippery or a trip hazard, slip hazard, just from the breakdown of concrete. And generally speaking, once you start to see that, the timeline for when it's going to get worse is shorter than, you know, just a concrete piece that's cracked or something like that. So, you know, the spalled concrete could be more of like a 2, although it may be flat and have no other cracks in it. However, the timeline for that to develop, you know, something more critical could be shorter.
I hear what you're saying as well, that maybe there's an economy of scale that we say, look, there's enough bad stuff on this block, let's just do the block versus Quincy gets the spider inflation.
As well as other development in the area as well, that may be something else that is looked at, you know, Columbia Street, I'm not sure which ward that has Columbia Street in it, but in theory, any work on Columbia from Fifth down is probably gonna be interrupted with the CSO separation. So a lot of sidewalk repair work there is gonna be handled, or if done now, may have to be redone later, so there are some of those, that's just one example. I'm sure there's others in the city, there's current projects that.
Right. Okay. Very good. When do you think, let's put a date on this. And I'd like to push it out, and, you know, we don't need this in 3 weeks. There's some other things I think we probably need to get moving on. But beginning of August now. Come back together middle of September. 6 weeks. George?
18th of September.
My birthday,
Yes.
when's your birthday?
18.
Mine's the 12th.
Oh.
Look at us Virgos.
I'm Virgo.
And my cousin Brian is September 18th as well.
Actually,
She's special.
let's, October 2nd, that's our next. No,
Okay.
no, our next meeting is September 4th.
Right,
How about we do October 2nd?
October 2nd.
This is from the top.
So October 2nd, that's 2 meetings away. That's the
right.
next meeting, 2 meetings. And at that meeting, you want us all to have done our ward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
we'll
agree.
And we'll report on it and then schedule the next step.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Tyler, is that good for you think? Yes?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so I got the phone on here as well. Was having a little trouble with Lily's MacBook. Yeah, I think that's fine. I also thought that like maybe a good idea when we were walking these spaces to kind of color code the map, like on the sidewalk. You know, if one color's a 1 and the next is a 2 or a 3, like, you know, to George's point, some of, you know, the whole entire sidewalk might not be replaced, but it may help if you color code it as you're walking down. You know, so many linear foot needs is a 1, and then so on and so forth. But that was my thought about it. If that helps anybody or you know makes it easier on anybody. But yeah, October 2nd is fine.
great. Okay. Anything else for Ryan? Okay. As is our practice, our custom. Justin, would you like to give us a ADA update?
just to wrap up, because, you know, the ADA stuff that I've been talking about all pertains to the completion of the DRI work. Let's just suffice it to say that none of us are happy with Louisi. We are gonna be seeking liquidated damages for breach of contract, for many things, all of which I've talked about ad nauseum, all the mistakes, you know, we can just go on, but we did have the actual architect come out, and look at everything, just as an added, because we're kind of taking Louisi's word that some of the things that I listed in our last meeting were actually complete. We're waiting to do our final walkthrough, which is imminent, but ahead of that final walkthrough, where our own eyes would have been able to see that some of the things that they said they finished were actually not finished. Our architect, Arterial, the designer of this whole project, came down after hearing about the murmurings of things kind of not going according to plan, and made this humongous punch list. So now they've noticed that there are still granite sets that are uneven that need to be fixed, that there are sidewalks that are cracking, that there all the promised lips at the corners that were noted that were not ADA compliant, and then we were told that they were ADA compliant. We're just taking Louisi's word, right? We haven't done the final walkthrough. Well, Arterial has come up and noted that they are still not ADA compliant. So we're not happy, but it will be addressed, and we hold payment until we get the product that we're paying for. We're not gonna pay for junk. And yeah. Everybody's frustrations are completely valid, but nobody's more frustrated than me. So yeah, that's my ADA report. And this is an ongoing, aside from the DRI work, I just want people to understand, because I know that some people are questioning, well, why are you guys just doing this section? This is what we're doing here is an ongoing project, right?
Well,
It's ongoing. So we're doing this section, we're doing 5th, 6th, and 7th. Well, why are you only doing 2 of the corners and not 3? There are reasons why, and it makes sense, and just let us do the work, and I just want people to understand that it's not just we're picking corners out of the air. There's a lot of thought, a lot of planning that goes in. We have a project manager that knows what he's doing. And I just want to put that out there. And this is ongoing work. And just because it's not part of this stage, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be in the next stage. And that's my ADA report, everyone.
you
Thank
gotta
you,
hear it anyway.
thank you, Jeff. Yeah, and to that end, in terms of communications. Yes, we can say, you know, if you can go back to our minutes, you can come to our meetings, but I still need to put out some sort of general overview so that puts everything into context and people understand. So that's a requirement on my part. And in fact, I think I have it under new business, but although we've been talking about it for a while, item D, publish overall status. I'm gonna commit to doing that before the next meeting. The other item we need to do is, at this point in time, is sit down, review the code and review it with our attorney. To determine what changes need to be made so we can get that done. And I'd rather do it sooner than later, only because it's still fresh in our mind. For myself to sit down and be ready for that, I'd have to read the entire code again. And then I think I'll reach out to Crystal and see what her availability is, and maybe one of our meetings, we get her on and we go over the code, you know, because we do know of some needs for update. As to the point that Ryan pointed out last month, which was the how many decimal points we go in terms of calculations.
We do have a question from Gossips. Do we want to take that now? Or do you want to wait?
Yeah, if you don't mind, Carol, let's wait a few minutes. And you've already been notifying, the mayor's office is notifying what work is being projected. I saw that on.
Yes.
That's terrific. I need to follow up with Heather on determining the funding for repair work in 2026. She has a couple of questions that I need to answer. I'll get that done as quickly. And then finally, we talked about prioritizing future ADA sidewalk work, and we have a plan in place for that. So I think that covers, is there any other new business here? Tyler?
Do you have any new business?
Oh, I'm good.
Good. So with that, we can open it up for questions, comments to the public.
Yep.
And to
To me,
Carol,
to me,
Carol has had her hand raised, so we're gonna go with Carol first.
beautiful, ladies first.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for indulging me. This may be totally inappropriate, but someone brought to my attention that on City Hall Place, next to the Opera House, there, apparently it's National Grid. I don't know who did it, but where the utilities enter the building has been marked on the sidewalk. And I was just wondering, since this is related to sidewalk, if you had any notion of why this was happening. Is National Grid coming back to do more work in the city, or what is the explanation, if you know it?
We, as I'm sure a lot of people know, National Grid has not always been the best to notify us ahead of time when they're coming in. However, we do have a new person with National Grid where if I reach out with a question, she responds immediately. So I will certainly follow up. And I can email you that answer tomorrow, Carol.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say just off the top of my head, I know that Archtop Fiber has come into town. They had a meeting with us in the mayor's office to let us know that they're coming in. That's all high speed internet. So they are going to be doing work imminently, and they'll be here for a while. So I'm not sure if perhaps what is being noted on the sidewalk there has anything to do with Archtop Fiber, but I will certainly get to the get an answer for you and get back to you tomorrow.
Thank
Is
you.
that
I
Sarah?
appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. Sure. Yes, Sarah.
Yeah, Carol, just to comment on that, while our focus is ADA compliance on the sidewalks, I could see National Grid having some other issue going right to DPW, and, that's not under our purview. So, but thank you for pointing it out. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a pet peeve last right, but I don't know
What to do with it?
exactly, because we got these corners, and I know they've got prioritizing their quote done unquote. Okay, and they got these, I don't know, it's about plastic things with the pocket, the little circles.
Attenuation.
Attenuation or attenuate. So these attenuated plastic things sit on top of the sidewalk that got ground down and made smooth. So around the sidewalk around these plastic things with the attenuations during the rain is extremely slippery. And it's just annoys the hell out of me
What,
when I'm walking in the rain.
is that all throughout the city or any
Throughout
specific?
the state, anywhere with,
I'm sorry. My observation is wherever it was grounded down.
it's ground down, it's grinding.
Yeah, and
When they
it
ground
was,
down.
we had
Precision.
precision, yeah.
With that precision.
One of the first companies that we hired to do the,
Treacherous.
yeah, the grinding down of the corners was Precision Safe Sidewalks.
It's
And
not safe.
what we realized is in some locations, they went down a bit too far.
Well, some places where they did it, they have the attenuation that covers the whole area, but then some places they have it where they ground down and the attenuation doesn't cover the whole place they ground down. And then I don't like walking in the attenuation, so I'm walking on the ground down area and I'm feeling my feet go slip sliding away.
Become friends with the attenuation.
Precisely.
Ronald has his hand up. Can we take Ronald's question? Are you finished? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, we hear you, and
I write some more.
to that point, did DPW had hired them? Did they ever go back on that issue with Precision to see what they could do?
And how long ago was
I
that?
don't believe so.
How long ago was that?
That was, God, what was that? Last,
Last year, last summer.
Yeah, it's wrong, Brian.
Okay,
Did they get paid?
I will double check. Did they get paid? I believe
Well,
so.
Let's give them a call
That's one
back.
people that's not called. That's one
they,
person that's not called.
they want to be an additional resource to us, so they need to be a good,
Yeah,
Good Stewart.
I'll reach out to Mr. Perry.
okay, I was gonna say, it, or I could, either way. We will, one of us will get in touch with Rob and figure out if
And then
there's.
for the first time on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Antonio Delgado Robin.
Yes. Okay.
Shake his hand.
So Ronald?
Yes, Ronald Kopnicki.
Yes, thanks. Has the board published its evaluation of the DRI situation anywhere, or are you planning to?
Ronald, our mission on the board here is not to review the DRI. That is being handled by Justin and DPW.
Okay.
And we discuss it as, as a way of having a forum for Justin to, update the city on it. But we have our scope of mission does not include DRI.
Will this issue be brought up at the council? Because
I'm sorry?
Will it be, the issue be brought up before the common council?
I imagine so.
Okay.
The project,
I was a little
Oh, sorry,
shocked.
go ahead, Ron.
No, I was a little shocked to hear the comments about the, state of the situation. Just on another issue, on technical issues, because I have had problems at the meetings of the Historic Preservation Commission with being heard. I'm glad to hear this. Yeah, that you
Yeah,
don't
sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to let you know, I watched those meetings. I helped them set up their meetings.
yeah.
And I'm upstairs watching as it's happening. And I, for the life of me, Ronald, I can't figure out why you are the only person that seems to have, and I'm not saying you have the issue, but there's an issue only present when you're trying to communicate with
Very difficult.
HPC and nobody else does. So
Jim's looking to get a new laptop.
yes, I know that. So I don't know if it's Jan's computer. I know Jan's computer is outdated. It's been deemed outdated and she's trying to get a new laptop. I don't know if for some weird reason, the communication between her laptop and yours just doesn't like each other, but we hear you fine, crystal clear, everything's perfect. And
Thanks.
I had witnessed.
I appreciate your efforts. And yesterday I spoke at the legal committee. They had no problem. And, conversely, I sometimes have problems hearing, or not hearing, I mean, I hear the sounds, but deciphering what people are saying at HPC meetings. I have no problem with your meeting. I mean, I can hear everything fine. So I appreciate your attention to this. And thanks a lot. I think you're all doing a great job.
Thank you. I just wanted to just button up what you were saying about asking if we were going to give a full report on the DRI. It's a bit foggy to some people who haven't been part of the Public Works Board since it was created, I think, in April of last year.
Correct.
It's a bit blurry because I am the mayor's aide, but I have to be on this board. So the hats kind of get blurry and people just assume that because I can give specifics on what's going on in the city with different projects, that it gets kind of intertwined into this board, and it's really not the board's responsibility. I just like to communicate and I like to be able to give people, some sort of idea of what's going on in the city within the ADA umbrella. Not as the mayor's aide, but more importantly as the ADA coordinator. So the lines get a little blurry, but I'm happy to do that. So so it's not the board's responsibility to comment on it, but I'm happy to do it.
Okay, thanks again.
You're welcome, Ronald.
Any other questions? Anything internal here?
What's our next meeting?
It's always the
First Thursday.
First Thursday. Okay.
so next one is September 4th.
I'll have to call them.
Thank you.
Has anybody heard from Dave Marston?
I haven't, but I guess I'll reach out to him.
Yeah, because he wasn't at the last meeting and he's not here, so I just want to make sure he's okay, and he's still invested, all that stuff.
It is, but, okay, can we get a,
Motion to adjourn?
thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Wait.